Morning all. Well, I've done quite a few hours in the liftoff simulator, you know, the one on Steam for FPV pilots, so you don't crash and waste all your money. So with the protection of that time, and also with the protection of care refresh, I thought today's the day. Today's the day that I'm going to go out and I am going into full manual mode and see what happens. I decided today I have two drones. I've got a Neo and I have an Avata 2. Now, just remind me that's bright. I decided not to fly the Avata 2 today because even though I have the care refresh on it, I figure if I'm going to crash something, I'll do it with low mass. So I took the Neo out, took off, flew it on the sticks in normal mode, flew it on the sticks in sports mode. Then I put it into manual mode, but with the training wheels on to stop me rolling it over too far or pitching it up and down too far. And then I turned it off and went into full unlimited manual mode. And can I tell you this, that those people that tell you you should go and do some sim time before you go out into the real world because it will save you a lot of money were 100% right. And those people that say the pause mode in DJI is freaking awesome are absolutely right. Those two things allow me to fly manual for the first time in the real world with not a single crash. I didn't take it too low. Not until the end anyway. I brought it down a bit just because I was feeling more confident. But you'll see in the video that it was actually not a bad experience. I was twitchy as hell. I was nervous as hell. And for those of you with DJI, when you switch it into manual mode and that little symbol comes up on the screen saying move the sticks here, and then you do that and then it says you're in manual mode, the first time you do that, I got to tell you, it's quite the feeling, because you're doing everything, right? Yes, it's got GPS, and yes, it's going to use the GPS if you run the battery down like a plonker and it decides to come home on its own. But just simply having that time on the simulator and that time on the pause button and going through the steps of flying it in normal mode, flying it in sports mode, flying it in manual mode with the pitch and roll limits on, and then moving up to take that off and just go into the full mode, I have to say that's 100% the way to do it. Worked perfectly for me. I mean, you know, my Neo, what is it? It's £168, something like that for a Neo these days. And I have the care refresh. But yeah, it was nice. It was a good experience and a beautiful day for it. I found a fantastic site, and you'll see in the video. You'll notice one thing that I did. When I was in manual mode, I did some turns, which were quite tight turns. And the Neo didn't like it very much. As long as the turns were gentle, it was okay. But as soon as I put it into a hard turn, then things got a little bit flaky and the good old pause button came to save me. I don't know whether it was prop wash. I don't know whether it wasn't grippy enough and it just kind of flipped out. Anyway, that's what it did. So enjoy the video, and next time I'll do one with the Avata. So now it's time to get in the air. As I said, this is the first time I've ever done this, so you take off in normal mode. What you'll notice is in the top left-hand corner of the screen, I've dubbed onto it what mode I'm in throughout the flight, so you can see when I hit the pause button, and I try and explain why I hit the pause button. So just taking off now and getting used to flying in normal mode. It's the first time I've ever used this controller outside, so just trying to get some feel. Okay, do some gentle turns, see how it's going. And sooner or later, you just get bored with that. So you decide to up the game a little bit. It's a very nice area, loads of trees, and because there's no leaves on the trees, I was very nervous that, you know, I might try and skip over the top of the trees and not see those small twigs that are just waiting to eat my little tiny Neo. So a little look around, see the area we're flying in. It's a beautiful location. This is up near Boreham Wood. So now we switch to sport mode. Let's try that, a little bit more speed, see how that feels. Don't appear to be doing anything at the moment. I must have fallen asleep briefly. I was standing up for this first one, and I would advise anyone who's flying FPV for the first time to find somewhere to sit, because it's quite nerve-wracking and you feel your knees start to tremble a little bit. So sitting down is probably a good idea. So now we've tried that. Now it's time to go for the big manual. Now, bear in mind, this is manual with the training wheels on. So you'll see on the screen, the move to manual comes in. I was expecting it to come up with a little thing that says you've got to move the sticks to this location, but the sticks were already in that location. So now I'm flying around in manual. This is me doing it for the very first time, staying at altitude, trying not to get too close to those trees. And as you can see, the drone's become significantly more responsive. Tiny little thing, this, the Neo. I did this originally with the prop guards on, so I think that may have had an effect. You'll notice later on, when I try and do some tight maneuvers, it causes a bit of a problem, and I think that might have to do with the fact that I had the top prop guards on and the airflow into the rotors was a bit disrupted. We'll see, I'll take them off the next time I fly. But no crashes yet, it's all a good sign. So now, I go back into sports mode. Let's have a little look around the area. This bit of the video is a little bit boring, it's just me looking around, but I did say I was going to include the entire flight, so stay with it. Back into sports mode. This is also an opportunity for my knees to stop shaking. So I filmed this with an ND8 filter on. I probably should have gone with a 16, but this flight was nothing to do with the quality of the film. This was all to do with the quality of the control, or lack of quality of the control. So as you can see, it's a very brown day in England. Can't wait till spring comes and we get some nice leaves on the trees, and so you can actually see where the trees are. So now, coming back down again, preparing to do some more manual. Here it comes. Give me a minute now and you should see us now. We'll switch back into manual mode. Okay, center the sticks, that little message that comes up. Now we're back in manual mode. So now continuing to fly around. That bando that you can see coming up, I took a nice walk through that, and it's obviously used by a lot of FPV flyers because I did find a number of broken props in there, so that's always a good sign that you're in the right place. Not coming down at all low, just feeling it out, checking out that coordination of aileron and yaw. Now it's time to finally take those training wheels off. This is the limitation of bank and pitch. So when you first go into manual mode, if you don't turn this off, you won't be able to roll or flip or do anything because this is on, and it gives you a nice little warning to say, are you sure you want to do this, idiot? Yep, I do want to do this. That's the whole point of being here. So now we'll switch back into manual mode, and this is it. This is me flying full manual without any of the controls on. And what do you do first? You dive straight down. Why not? Because you can. Yeah, at this point, I noticed that my camera angle was set to 0 because I didn't adjust it. And it took me a while to figure that out. I kept trying to point down, but I just wasn't getting the angle that I wanted. And so flying around, as you can see, it's very wet. It's a high motivator not to get the drone on the ground, because if it does, it's going to get wet, muddy at best, and stop working. I tried an aileron roll. As you can see, I didn't do very well. In liftoff, I spent the time. Joshua Bardwell has a fantastic video on how to set your rates and how to figure out your rates for yourself. I'll put the link in the description below. So on my second flight, I'd kind of broken it, right? So I'm straight into manual mode, starting to feel a little more comfortable, starting to come down in altitude a little bit. Aileron roll was a little bit better, but I did freak out and I hit the pause button. So going on, back into manual mode. The trees, getting a little bit closer down to them. You can feel that my confidence is starting to rise a little bit. Going up. Then I figured out that the angle was 0, so I put it in pause to adjust the camera angle. I think I set it for 15 degrees. Not too steep an angle, but something that would be suitable for just swooping down amongst the trees. You can't go too fast with the Neo anyway. So now that's a lot better. I'm definitely feeling that, you know, it's in the right place, it's more appropriate. Don't know what happened there. So as I was coming down, I didn't put that in. That was an undemanded yaw, and I don't know why. I don't know if it was a signal glitch or what, but now we're back flying around, looking at the trees, enjoying being up there, wanting to see some birds. As I say, I should have cleaned that lens. The flaring is quite extreme. I think they must do dirt biking or something over here, because the ground gets pretty chewed up. And there's a mobile home park in the background. That's the road where you park up, and then my car's down there. And you can see you just walk through the trees and get to the location. For my second flight, I actually found an old car tyre which made a perfect seat, so I managed to fix that problem and was able to sit down. Made a big difference, and I felt a lot more comfortable flying the drone. Beautiful light though. What a lovely day it was. There was a bit of wind at altitude. In fact, if you pay attention early on in the video, you'll see a high wind warning. But I was up, I suppose, at about 100 meters when that happened. So now you can see I'm getting more confident. Starting to come down. Starting to not fear the trees so much, and I think it's just a matter of time. I'll become overconfident with the trees, and then we'll have a little say hello, and they'll try and steal my drone. But anyway, here we go. As you can see, because there are no leaves on the trees, it's really hard to see where the tops of those trees are. I'm guessing it's something that I'll get a feel for as I... again, that was me. That was just overconfidence on the turn. I think this has something to do with those top propeller guards as well. So I was doing a very tight turn, and whenever I did that really tight turn, in the 2 or 3 instances that I did it, it appeared to bottom out. So next time I'm going to take those top propeller guards off. Nice little track there. On reviewing the video, I think I should have just kind of racetracked around that little pathway. And I think I'll probably do that next time, especially with the Avata. That will handle that very well. So if you were to compare this to the first flight, you'd notice that I'm a bit lower down and now starting to really feel it. A lot happier with the whole thing. People talk about the camera on this and how its quality isn't that great. I think the question should be is, Not that the quality isn't great, it's how do they get the quality so good in such a small airframe? It only weighs 135 grams. To get this level of recorded quality on 135 grams, all up weight, camera, battery, everything, I think is absolutely astounding. And the flight time is perfectly reasonable, you know. I wasn't taking the batteries down below 30, so now we're back into my third flight. So come down, change packs, last pack of the day. Into manual mode. Okay, now let's see what I've learned in my previous 2 flights. Now you see that shaking and that camera nod. That wasn't the movement of the drone, that was the gimbal. I don't know why it did that. I will experiment to see more. Maybe there was a bit of grit or something stuck in the gimbal. I don't know, but I will clean out the gimbal with some compressed air just to make sure there's nothing in there. Want to buy a car? There's plenty of cars over there. Okay, so a little dive down, pull the throttle. Not sure where the twigs are, so pulling out early. Come around. Now I get the idea that actually I really want to fly along that track, so I start to come down a bit more. My camera angle probably still a little bit low for traveling at speed like this, so as I got confident I should probably have bumped it up a little bit. On watching this, I can see that I was beginning to feel much more confident. If you notice, I haven't hit the pause button in quite a while, so I'm obviously feeling good about it. Now I'm coming down. Tree schmees, don't worry about it, just fly. So here I am lower. Yeah, when I do those more gentle turns, it doesn't seem to do the whole flip out thing that it was doing before. So I think it is the prop guards. I think if I take those off, I'll have better and tighter control in the corners and be able to pull a little bit more as I go around. So now we're really coming down. I say really coming down. Those of you that have been doing this for a while will be laughing your heads off at this. But for me, it's a big deal. So trying to come down, not pointing into the sun, so turning around, looking for somewhere to go, trying not to hit the trees, coming around, following that little path, so come around, now really starting to come down. Now I'm getting it, and I love it. It's such a lovely feeling, and guys, those of you that can thread the eye of a needle with one of these things, dying to get that level of confidence and skill. But again, it's going to come with practice. Back into normal mode. Did notice that my home point had set somewhere completely different, so I decided that I would come and reset my home point. So back into manual mode. Had that not have happened, I would have done the entire flight in manual mode and not had to hit the pause button once, but hey, there we go. Back into manual mode. Love the way the light shines off the puddles on the ground. Didn't like the idea of potentially putting my lovely little drone into the water, but hey, that's what the refresh is for. So now, trying to follow the path around. Nice little turn at the top. In the simulator, I did a lot of this, finding a road. Racetrack was good. Just following that path around, and, getting into turns. And it took me a while to figure out that when I banked, I had to add a lot of power into the turn to stop it skidding out. But now I think I've kind of got that. One more turn around, even lower this time. I believe my altitude warning gets red. There you go. It's saying to me that you're quite close to the ground now. It doesn't look as close as perhaps it was, but I think that altitude is relative to the home point. So there we go. One more run through. Back to home. And time to land. Because it was muddy, I would end all my flights with the hand grab capture, just so that it didn't get wet. Just one more thing. When I look at videos online, some of them are like DJI haters. Just because, you didn't end up with 50 gazillion solder burns on your hand and you didn't put it together yourself and you're buying into some corporate structure. Let me just say this, that I think that the combination of the Neo and the Avata 2 are going to bring so many new people to this hobby and pastime because they make it so easy to do, right? I would never have done it, right? I honestly don't have the time to sit there and build and crash and build and crash and build and crash and go through that loop again and again. What I do have the time to do is to sit down and spend the time on the simulator and to know that the thing I'm putting in the sky is rock solid, it does what it says on the tin, and there's stepping stones, right? The very stepping stones that I went through this morning and previously on the simulator, these are the very stepping stones that are going to give you the confidence to proceed into the hobby and enjoy the hobby. Will I ever build my own drones? Probably, yeah, I will. But by the time I get to build my own, hopefully I'll know enough to understand what it is I actually want to build, rather than build a Cinewoop, build a 5-inch, whatever it happens to be, right? I'll know what I want to build because I'll know that there's not a DJI product that's going to meet my requirements for that. Knowledge is power, right? So doing this in these stages. So hats off to DJI and thanks to DJI because, this is a hobby that I am absolutely going to love. And I think that what DJ has done is beyond the original FPV drone and beyond the Avata 1, just having the Neo, right, at such a low cost, especially when it's the NC package, with the goggles and everything. The barrier to entry for this now is really dropped the bar and allowed a load more people to participate. So again, hats off DJI. I think you've done a fantastic thing, and the more people in the hobby, the better. It's a fascinating hobby and I really enjoy it, and I've met nothing but nice people doing this, and so I look forward to the future of it.